I can apply power, influence, and politics into my management style to increase my effectiveness as a manager many different ways. Empowerment is basically giving employees the opportunity to step into roles and opportunities to exercise expertise and work alongside managerial things, and I guess not have like this whole understanding. It's like, oh, since you're not a manager, you can't help out with these things. It's just giving them more opportunities to kind of work with the internet working and things. And ways to do that is being able to increase their confidence. And I believe a cool way that I can effectively do this would be to um, do reward systems. Is whenever I see good, ethical, and productive work from employees, I can ensure that there will be a reward system, make sure that the employees are rewarded and know that they're doing a good job. And whenever they are rewarded and know that they do a good job, they are more likely to be motivated to keep being productive within the company. So I believe that this can increase my effectiveness as a manager, as employees look up to me to be able to trust and know that if they do a good job, they'll be recognized for it. And I just know for certain that whenever people are doing a good job and they don't feel recognized for it, I feel like it can pent up some negative emotions towards that manager, and that respect towards the manager being like, why am I doing all this work, but this person doesn't even see that I'm working hard and stuff. So I definitely think it's best for you to always ensure that you're acknowledging your employees, that they're doing a good job, that you trust them with empowerment, and it helps them have a mental security knowing that their work is not going unnoticed and that it is valued within the company. So it can increase your effectiveness as being a manager by them trusting you and being assured that you are paying attention to everyone within the company. Influence, how this can make me an effective manager and increase my effectiveness as a manager is just being the ultimate role model towards my employees, by setting the expectations, setting the policies, and setting the standards, and then following them all the time. I've had managers in the past where they have these policies, they have these requirements, they have this reliability system, and they're like, follow this and fellow employees, but then they don't do it well themselves. And then they just kind of use excuses, like, oh, it doesn't really apply to me, or it's fine, it was just like a small scenario, yada, yada, yada. And I'm not talking about mistakes, everyone makes mistakes, but whenever you make mistakes, being an effective manager is taking accountability for it and acknowledging it. But if you don't do that, then you're just like, oh, do as I say, not as I do. And that doesn't really increase your effectiveness as a manager towards your employees because they're like, well, if my manager's not taking it seriously, why should I? And I definitely been put in situations where I felt like my effort to follow the policies wasn't even being noticed or valued because my manager wasn't even doing it. Um, so I definitely think by me putting up and setting that role model and actually like being intentional and following those policies that I set and set those reliability standards, it's giving my employees the idea that like, hey, she is someone that takes her job very seriously. I should also take my job seriously. So by doing that, my effectiveness is being increased because they trust my character and trust that I value this job. Um, so they are more willing to follow my leadership and all those things. And then the last thing was politics. The best definition I kind of came up with, like organizational politics, is basically like an individual's desire of what they want to get out of the company. And some examples of this is like in gaining power, gaining leadership, um, and that's like the most common example of organizational politics. And there's a negative way to go about it, and there's a positive way to go about it. And the negative way is like sabotaging other people that are being considered for a leadership role and stuff so they can be able to be more considered and eligible. And then there's the positive side of just someone going through the steps, going through the classes, going through the lessons from the manager and leadership and stuff to be able to gain a resume that's positively points them towards them being like, eligible to take on this leadership role and to work up the ladder. And I believe to improve my effectiveness towards my employees is by encouraging working up the ladder, encouraging taking on those organizational politics, the positive ones that help you grow within the company. Because if I'm not doing that, then people might be like, oh, I'm just kind of stuck where I'm at. If my manager doesn't encourage me to kind of step out and take those lessons and take those extra classes and seminars to be able to work out. So I definitely think by encouraging it, I would be more effective for my employees to follow my encouragement and be able to take on those opportunities. And then I also believe keeping people accountable for sabotaging and going about the negative way of working up the ladder. If rewarding the people that report stuff and then giving consequences to the people that made the mistakes of going about it negatively and unethically. And I believe this would increase my effectiveness, knowing that employees know that like I will stick to the policies. I'm not just kind of flimsy whimsical thing like, oh, this person cheated, but they'll get the position anyway. No one has to be worried that I'll be doing that. They know that I hire people and work up people that have proven themselves to be reliable, productive, and ethically sound in that way. So all of this politics, influence, and empowerment can help my effectiveness by just being the ultimate role model, portraying my mission and making sure that it's ethical, having accountability to stick to it. And by doing that, my employees will be more likely to follow in those footsteps and think that my leadership is effective towards them.